After yesterday's tragic sort of incident with Milo, that car, I think it's been pretty much decided that that car is going to be scrapped because it's just beyond economical value. And I like to go a bit beyond that on this channel. But when it's other people's cars, there's a point where you have to weigh the pros and cons. There's too many cons to that car, and I think the gearbox going just was the final straw. Everything could be repaired, but at some severe cost. And this is the problem with Rover 45s. They're not worth much. And because they're not worth much, that car's now going to be scrapped. Because you can get another one, and I've directed the owner to go and get another one. Whether she does, I don't know. That's her decision. But you can get a good Rover 45 for 1,500, maybe probably less than that, 1,300. That is ridiculously cheap for one of these. This, I would be lucky to get £2,000 for it, even being a YouTube car, as good as she is. And she's one of the best 45s about. Forget Mark IIs, one of the best 45s. But now that's all been and done with, you'll get details about what's happening down the line. Got another problem. I've discovered a bit of an oil leak on this car. Yes. Because after yesterday's incident of the engine oil spewing out oil from the rear main oil seal, and Milo's gearbox also spewing out fluid through the front seal on the gearbox, running dry, burning fluid, belt screeching, lost drive, broken gearbox basically. A bit more complicated because what caused the oil leak was actually, I think, a bearing issue. That's my conclusion on that one. I will be doing a slight autopsy on that gearbox, and there is a way I can show you what's going on. And it's a very simple test. I'm just leaning my can down on my new car, which will be revealed tomorrow. After tomorrow, the new car is going to go out. It'll be an 8 o'clock reveal, okay? 9 o'clock, there'll be a live stream straight away, so you can put your comments towards me and basically tell me what an idiot I am. The way it is. But I'm going to focus on Beatrix now, because we have a gearbox leak of all things, and I only wanted to check this car because I was paranoid about what happened yesterday. I've ended up going and buying a spare gearbox for Beatrix, basically as an insurance policy. That's already been in hand, and I shall expect it very soon. Whether I'll do a video on it, I don't know. I might take it apart, we'll see. But this car, yeah, shall we see what the problem is? It was only when I parked it on the driveway just now, just moved it off the road, that I discovered we've got a bit of a leaking issue underneath. So I'm just going to bring it down, and hopefully you'll be able to see. Beatrix is looking very good under here. There's some just surface rust coming in the usual area, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. But it's looking quite nice, a bit over sprayy on the pipes, you know, but it's all holding together well. There's no sign of deterioration apart from maybe that is such a bad design, it's untrue. Look at this. This is why they rust. There's two frigging pieces of steel that are just lined and welded together. No wonder they blooming rot in these areas. It's dreadful. But it's just surface. I'll get onto that at some point in the future. If I bring you up here towards the gearbox, now I'm having a look at the back of the gearbox. It's dry. It's dry. But what I was seeing is oil where my finger is. See that bolt there? That's leaking, that is. I thought, oh no. And I was looking at it from the front of the car. Everything else looks very dry. I'm pretty happy. Engine sump looks dry. Because I've cleaned it all, I can tell if anything's leaking. But as we can see here, we've got a bit of a leak. It's dripping down, I'm pretty convinced, from that bloody yellow plug. And I'll show you that now. When I bought this car, there was a lot of oil around the backside, which is lovely to see. A nice K series, isn't it? She's looking fantastic, and when you clean things, it becomes very hard for the dirt to embed once again. And believe you me, I've taken it to some shows, and I've opened up the bonnet to give it a bit of a clean. I'm thinking, what am I doing? who's going to notice the difference if I decide not to clean it? It looks brilliant anyway. But down here we have this plug. Now that yellow plug there, on the earlier gearboxes, so we're talking Rover Metros, Rover R3s, Rover R8s that were fitted with a CVT gearbox, that's where your speedo cable goes in. Now obviously, because this is an electronic gearbox, there's a sensor further down there, but this would be basically a cable going to a speedo drive, and we've got this plug here. I will just take off the plug. Oh, come on. It's a bit stiff, this. You just have to keep wiggling. Right, there we go. Right, the plug's off, and basically we've got this hole that was for a cable back in that model, but ZF decided we can't be bothered to blank it off entirely, so we'll just stick a plug back over it and it'll be fine. No, the bloody oil comes out. That's why, look at the gearbox casing, look at this, look at that down there. That's because oil fluid has been coming out of this gearbox ever since basically whenever. Not a lot of oil, but it's enough to make me check, and make you guys who own a CVT check that you've got the correct amount of fluid in. I'm going to be doing that once again, but I've checked the fluid. It's nice and pink, and it smells very sweet, which is exactly what you want. But yeah, I'm going to clean this up with carb cleaner, but I can confirm there is no leaks between the engine and gearbox. If I come to the front, I'm just going to stick you under here. Just have a look around the pan. Look at there. Now that's the bit of oil we're talking about. You see that there? That is coming from that plug. I just got my finger on it. In fact, there's hardly any oil there, but it is a bit of CVT fluid, but it's not enough to drip. Not, after standing for long periods maybe, but that's the only leak that I can see on this, and I'm pleased because I kind of did a good job in the first place, and I always say do the job first time well. But as I say, the pan's looking very dry, which is really good. So yeah, there you go guys. Just a little top tip for the CVT owners. If you've got a Steptronic or Step Speed, which is the later electronic gearbox like mine, you need to investigate this plug and just make sure that it's not leaking too much. But what a stupid design. Oil's just going to come out of there. I'm going to clean that up with some carb cleaner, but I'm going to leave this there because this is a short intro. Yeah, so just keep an eye on your CVT gearbox. Make sure it's not leaking. I was a bit paranoid about this, and I'm glad that I looked, because otherwise I wouldn't have looked. It's not even minuscule, but over a period of time that could cause a problem with the gearbox. You'd start to notice things. So I'm going to do another fluid change. I'm going to take it for a drive, take it through all the gears, put the check the dipstick, and then add maybe a tiny amount of fluid. I mean, we're probably talking about 50 mil, probably not even that. It's not a massive amount of fluid. It's just enough to make it look oily underneath. Anyway, carb clean at the ready. You take care, guys.